Hi, today I'm going to show you how to use the MRX10 or MRX20 in combination with the MRX4 sensor unit. The MRX4 sensor unit has 4 inputs for each of the 6 URC sensors, and today I'm going to show you the contact closure version, which is this one. And I have connected a little switch on it. So if we press the switch, we notice a short little tag, and if we press and hold for just a little bit longer, the macro is being executed. So what I've done to show you is, if we go to step 5, and we select sensors, I have made an automation trigger on port 1 of the MRX10 and 4 automation triggers on port 1, 2, 3 and 4 of the MRX4 sensor. Now there's no program, we just have sensors which are fake IR drivers called sense. They essentially don't do anything, but we need them to be able to drag and drop to the sensor ports. And we can give them a little name, so I just call them sensor. So if you drag and drop and you select automation trigger and you accelerate this file, you will notice in step 12 that we have some new options available. Under special macros, you notice there will be automation trigger macros, which will not be here if you don't select automation triggers in step 5. So with this option, all the available sensor ports, assigned sensor ports, will show up here. So if you don't assign port 2, 3 and 4 of the MRX10, they won't show up, just like you see in here. So if you select the trigger, you can build your macro. Now, just to make it very simple and audible, so we can hear what's happening, I've put a MRX10 relay on and off command and a little pause, a 2-second delay, because we need 2-second delay. If you don't put the 2-second in there, people can press a button and the trigger will keep continuing firing the macro. So always put a little delay in there in case you're gonna assign a button in the building or the house to trigger an automation macro. So very simple, MRX10 relay 1 on and off. So we should be able to hear the MRX10 relay. So we have connected it to port 1. Here we go. Port 1 is connected to my sensor, and if I press it, see, there it goes. But the short press won't trigger the macro. You need a little longer press. So in case of a Lutron or KNX system that is going to trigger a URC macro, I suggest you to connect these wires to the relay of the KNX or Lutron system and put in a, let's say, 1, maybe 2-second contact closure. Because if I press and hold, 1, 2, there we go. So if we listen very careful, here we go. Now without the 2-second delay in my macro, it would chuck, 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 it would keep going. So put a delay in there. Not too much, because the customer, yeah, you never know, so don't put in there too much, but 2 seconds is enough. So the short press will not do anything. If we look to the LED, and I'm not sure if I can film this, let me check, maybe in the dark here. If I press my button short, you see it will detect a press. but it will not turn red. So if I press and hold, it will, and it fires the macro. So keep in mind it needs a little longer press. So if you put it in an automation system of let's say a lighting system, KNX, Lutron, make sure to set it to at least 2 seconds. If there's no possibility to press and hold, so just let's say a door button of the doorbell, you need to tell the end user to press and hold it for at least a second. So if that is not an option, because maybe some strangers will walk up to the house and press the doorbell, and you want it to fire a macro, maybe you should reconsider the setup and put a timed relay behind the button. So let's say when you press it, get a timed relay to open or close the contact for at least a second, maybe 2 would be even better. But yeah, okay, if there's a ringer, it will sound for 2 seconds. Might be a little bit strange experience when you press the doorbell for a second and it starts ringing for 2, but who knows. But it's a workaround. So you can build your macros. Oh, and one thing I sometimes notice is that people tend to go in automation macros, and once it's empty, they want to use an if else. Now there's no need to use an if else, because what I've seen in some projects is that they put an if else and then they say if the base station MRX4 sensor 1 is on, and then they build a macro. That's not necessary, because an automation trigger is a constant sense of change in the sensor. So you don't need to do that. You would need to do that if you would build the if else in the room macro. In the room macro you would need to say, hey, if we press and we hold, then you need to do that. There's no need to do that in added special macros under automation triggers. Now what it can do, it can do all kinds of things, but remember, if you want to do something real special, you should consider deleting this stuff and go all the way up to universal macros, and you can build your universal macro and trigger these. Okay, I hope this helps. Thank you very much. Bye bye.